Hello, big boy. It's Baba. Now, as I promised, I'd have a little story for you, and hopefully, you can see this before you go to bed tonight. So, Mackenzie, what story do we have tonight? This is The Man on the Moon. A day in the life of Bob. Man on the Moon. A day in the life of Bob. There is Bob. Man on the Moon. This is Bob. Perhaps you've heard people talk of him. You may know him better as the Man on the Moon. Hello, Bob. Hello, Bob. Oh, we do know him. He's the Man on the Moon. And there's his rocket right there. This is where Bob lives. Every morning he rises at 6 o'clock. He has a cup of tea and 2 eggs for breakfast before leaving for the rocket launch pad. On the way, he stops to buy a newspaper and some chocolate toffees. He's on his way to work. On the moon. Oh, that's where he works. Amazing. By 8 o'clock, Bob arrives at the launch pad, changes into his special Man on the Moon suit, and boards his fantastic rocket ship. He must make sure he leaves by 8:45, otherwise he wouldn't make it to the moon by 9. On the way, he reads the newspaper and does the crossword. Look, we can see Bob in the window of the rocket. Can you see him? Just there. He's over there. Bob starts work. His job as Man on the Moon is very important. He has to keep the moon clean and tidy. Quite often, astronauts drop sweet packets and cans. Ooh, naughty astronauts. Some people say that aliens are responsible for much of the rubbish, but Bob knows that's not true. There's no such thing as aliens. Or is there? Can you see any aliens on the moon? Look closely. Can you see them over there? Over there. Can you see them? Aliens! Ooh. By 12:30, it's time to eat. Bob goes to his rocket ship to fetch his lunchbox. This usually contains 2 sandwiches, either cheese or peanut butter, an apple, and some chocolate-covered nuts. Sometimes he meets his friends for a picnic. His 2 best friends are Billy, Man on Mars, and Sam, the man on Saturn. They talk about the stars and tell jokes. After lunch, tourist spaceships start arriving from Earth. It is part of Bob's job to entertain them and give them something to photograph. So he does somersaults, handstands, and especially high moon jumps. Sometimes he performs for as long as 2 hours and is left quite out of puff. Occasionally, the tourist spaceships will land on the moon. When they do, Bob gives them a guided tour and a speech. He tells them lots of facts, such as how many craters the moon has, or how long it takes to walk around on stilts. Sometimes people ask him about aliens, and Bob explains patiently that there aren't any, but I'm not sure. Afterwards, Bob opens a small souvenir stand, selling postcards, pencils, mugs, and small plastic moon models. By 4:30, all visitors must leave the moon. Bob looks around to see that everyone has left. He checks inside for any big craters in case anyone has fallen in. But there's never anyone there. Are we sure? Is there anybody there? Is there anybody there? The working day is nearly over, and it is time to check everything is in order before leaving for the night. Bob packs away his equipment and any unsold souvenirs into his rocket. He switches on the moon's nightlight before jetting off towards Earth. By this time, he's very tired, but he still has to keep his wits about him while flying the rocket. As he reaches Earth, it's about 5 o'clock. The rush hour is in full swing, with everyone leaving work and going home, just like Bob. At home, Bob is just like anyone else. First, he has a long bath. Moonwork can make you very grubby sometimes. The dust can get inside your suit. Then he goes to bed with a mug of cocoa. He sleeps soundly, bathed in moonbeams, very happy to be the man on the moon. And aliens? Aliens. Well, Bob would know if there were any, wouldn't he? Aliens. Do you reckon Bob knows? Does he know? Does he really, really know? Anyway, what do you think? Do you think there are aliens on the moon or Mars or Saturn or another planet? If so, what do you think they look like? And do you think we could be friends with them? Alright, big boy. Baba's going to say night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. You know why? Because Baba loves you. That's why. Night.